Okay, so we've got this really interesting set of search terms here.
Yeah.
And we're going to take a deep dive into them.
Absolutely.
See what we can find, what we can learn.
Sounds good.
And see if there are any kind of interesting connections or insights we can uncover. So first up, let's take a look at the big one, that's Snow White. It's all over this list of search terms.
Yeah, it really jumps out right away.
Right.
You've got Snow White straight up.
Right.
You've got Snow White 2025, which is really specific.
Yes.
You've got Snow White movie.
Yeah.
Snow White Disney movie, even Snow White live action.
Yeah, so we can...
Clearly something you're interested in.
That there's a lot of interest in this upcoming or maybe recent
right.
Snow White adaptation from Disney.
Especially with that 2025 there. It's like a...
Especially with the 2025.
Big flashing sign.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a particular movie.
Yeah, and it's not just about the fairy tale itself.
Right.
It's also about how people are receiving it, because we see searches for Snow White box office.
Yeah.
Snow White box office numbers, even getting super specific with Disney Snow White movie box office. And then you've got Snow White reviews, Snow White Rotten Tomatoes.
It seems like you're really tracking
Rotten Tomatoes Snow White.
Yeah.
So you want to know
both the financial and the critical response.
Yes. How is it doing financially, and what are people saying about it critically?
Exactly. And even using those broader terms like box office and Rotten Tomatoes suggests you kind of know those landscapes already, but you're really zeroing in on Snow White.
Yeah, using them in the context of Snow White.
It's a case study for you, it seems like.
It is a case study. And now this is where it gets really interesting, because we also see searches for Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. And, you know, those are two big names in Hollywood.
Two prominent actors, for sure.
Yeah, so given that we're looking at all this Snow White stuff, it seems pretty clear that these searches are about
I'd say so.
Their involvement in this new movie.
Yeah, they're casting most likely, right?
Right, exactly. And then there's another search here
Okay.
that adds another layer. It's Rachel Zegler controversy.
Oh, interesting. So there's been some public discussion or news or something around her and this film.
Yeah, so that raises the question, what kind of discussions?
Yeah, what was it?
What's the controversy
Surrounding
surrounding her casting?
It's interesting how much attention is paid not just to the films,
right,
but to the actors and the narratives around their involvement these days.
Yes, absolutely. And right alongside all of this, we find a search for just straight up Walt Disney. So this feels like a connection back to the origins of the story.
The OG.
Yeah, like thinking about the historical context of Disney and this classic tale.
Interesting.
Maybe thinking about how this new adaptation measures up against the original vision.
It makes you wonder, right? Like, are they looking at how those original storytelling principles are being applied now? Are they being reinterpreted?
Yeah, is this a faithful adaptation?
Right, exactly.
Is this a reimagining?
It's all about legacy meeting the present.
It really is. Okay, so now we've got a couple of searches here.
Right.
That seem to be on a totally different track.
Okay.
We've got the Alto Nights and Fox News Live.
So those are a little different.
They are. They stick out from the Snow White theme.
Totally different genre, maybe.
Yeah, and it's likely that these searches represent other areas of interest that you were exploring at a different time.
Maybe just broader information gathering.
Yeah, exactly. So the Alto Nights maybe indicates an interest in crime.
Possibly.
Or maybe a specific news story.
Could be.
That was happening at the time.
Yeah. And then Fox News Live suggests that you're staying updated with current events through that particular outlet.
And it shows that, you know, our information gathering isn't always linear.
No, not at all. We're all over the place.
Yeah, we jump around between topics.
Exactly.
We have different interests.
Exactly. It gives a glimpse into the breadth of your interests.
Yeah. Okay, so to bring it all together, it seems like you've been really closely following this Snow White adaptation development, the reception, probably interested in Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot's roles and any of the discussions happening around that.
Controversies.
Exactly. And you're also keeping an eye on how it's doing at the box office.
The numbers.
And what the critics are saying. And then separately, you're interested in the Alto Nights and staying up to date with Fox News Live.
So it's interesting, given how deep you've gone on this Snow White stuff, especially the public reception and the controversies.
Yeah.
What does that tell us about how we engage with these reimagined classic stories in today's media world,
Yeah.
Where every little detail is out there and open to debate.
It's really interesting to think about.
Yeah, it really is.
How we consume these stories in a completely different way than we used to.
Absolutely.
So much to unpack there.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Anytime.
We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.